Dun, 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 dun. Hello, everyone. It's DK. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing great today. It's DK. Hey, darling. Thank you for joining. Today, we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome in real estate. And as many of you know, I have a weekly newsletter that I write. And so the things that we are going over today are actually in the newsletter. Okay, today about imposter syndrome in commercial real estate. So, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Divine Couture. I'm DK by the Bay, and I specialize in commercial real estate leasing. It's my passion. I specialize in commercial real estate leasing of industrial, retail, and office products. So I really appreciate that. So right now I'm going to transition into some slides that I have created for you from my newsletter so we can talk about imposter syndrome in commercial real estate leasing. And so every week, as I mentioned before, I have these newsletters that talk about, thank you so much, I'm excited too, thank you. They talk about these really interesting subjects that not only my students, but I see people are struggling with, and that's imposter syndrome. And it seems like imposter syndrome right now is kind of like a buzzword, it's a catchphrase. I really find it's important that we bring it up in real estate because it's actually something that's given other people permission to say, hey, I kind of feel insecure about this. I'm not feeling my best about this. And just using those two words can incite encouragement instead of what may have been bullying in the past. It can still incite some sort of insecurities in the person to be able to say it. But for the person receiving the information, especially in the business space now, they understand that, hey, that's something that I may have struggled with too. And instead of saying, hey, just get it together, you can do it, don't worry about it, they'll say, hey, I understand what you're saying, and it is a difficult thing. I struggle with myself. Is there anything I can do to help? And us being professionals, that's how we need to start addressing one another when it comes to imposter syndrome, right? Because it's giving us that freedom to kind of be ourselves and say, these are the things that I'm struggling with. And that's okay. So just today we're going to get some quick tips on what imposter syndrome is, how to deal with it, some of the things and feelings that come to our mind, and how this affects us as real estate professionals, right? And it's not even residential, it's commercial. It's all aspects of real estate in and out of our businesses. Hey guys, thank you so much. Yes. And people have the experience, we have the knowledge. But we're going to talk about the difference between imposter syndrome, low self-esteem, or just really not having it and knowing when the difference to see when is the difference of it. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my next slide here, and I appreciate you guys joining me. So imposter syndrome, it's a psychological phenomenon that reflects the belief that you are inadequate, you're incompetent failure, despite evidence that indicates you're actually quite skilled and successful. So it's the thought of, although I know that I'm supposed to be at this table, I may not deserve to eat, right? Or although that I've worked really hard, I've gotten my real estate license, I'm making all the calls, I'm doing all this stuff, why would they listen to me? Do I really know what's going on? I may not be able to offer them the full advice, or what if they ask me a question I don't know? So it's a bunch of different things, right guys? It's not just one thing, but we do know it is a psychological phenomenon that happens with everyone, from newbies to seasoned professionals. Okay, and this is something, like I said, it opens up the gates for us to be able to talk about it. So instead of saying, oh, you got imposter syndrome, man, get up on there and stage and talk. Forget about it. We'll say, oh, you've got imposter syndrome. I can feel you. I can understand that. What can I do to assist you? So that's how we want to reflect and come back and be an assistance. And when we're in that need and we're feeling like, oh man, today's not my day, do I really have it? Then we're hoping somebody else can lend us that hand too. And yes, you guys might hear sirens a little bit because, we are in California. We are in the Bay Area here. So, bosses, Brokers, developers, investors, newbies, seasoned, everyone experiences this imposter syndrome. Everyone at some stage in their lives. So, deals get shaken up, escrows get closed, clients retract, other explosive events that cause us to start second guessing ourselves. We might get feelings of, oh man, I really don't have it together as much as I thought I did. I thought I had that deal in the bag. I thought that client was exactly what I needed to do. I could have swore I had all my paperwork together. And then coming up with these things, and it just starts compiling. I do want to make a note. Imposter syndrome and low self-esteem are totally two different things. Imposter syndrome is when you already are having success, but you're feeling that you're inadequate. Low self-esteem is a completely different issue. It's an issue rooted in a lot of different other things, and it can show up as imposter syndrome, and maybe working on your self-esteem will work on your imposter syndrome, but they may or may go hand. I'm not a psychologist, but I want to point out through my research, through the white papers and the psychology papers I read about imposter syndrome, they're two different things. And when I was thinking about it for myself, I realized that's true. So I don't have imposter syndrome. I can talk about commercial leasing all day, every day. I have no problem with it. But I do have low self-esteem. I've suffered from low self-esteem throughout my life. So when I'm coming up with feelings of, oh man, am I not good enough and stuff, that's for my self-esteem. So I want to use those differences and also giving myself as an example, because hey, I got to put myself out there and call myself out, because I'm working and growing and learning about myself every day, guys. So these are the facts. Let me get back to the point. These are the facts. Learning real estate, learning commercial real estate, being a professional, it's tough. It is not easy. There is so much to learn. So you kind of got to give yourself a break, right? Instead of talking to yourself down, it's okay to have those questions, and you've got to acknowledge it, like, today I'm feeling like I may not be adequate. Today I'm feeling like I may not be able to give my best. If you can acknowledge those feelings and come to a place where you're just aligned a little bit with phrases like, okay, so I know I'm not feeling adequate today, but I did pass my real estate license, so I did do that. I did, I'm looking for another slide too. I did be able to connect with clients. I'm able to make cold calls, so I can do that. I am able to study and retain knowledge. I do have a desire to help others with their real estate needs. I do know real estate is tough. I do know I have made it that far. Just when you're feeling an imposter syndrome, if you can get your mind switched to a feeling of neutrality and confirm things that you really have done, even if it's the simplest thing of like, hey, I've passed my real estate exam. Well, congratulations, right? That's how you got here. But if that is something that says, hey, I did pass my real estate exam, because I'm going to tell you guys something. Do you know how many people fail their real estate exams? Do you know how many people have to take the real estate exams more than once? 5 or 6 or 7 times? Do you guys know that? Do you guys know who failed the real estate exam on the first try by one? Who has 5 fingers and 1 thumb? Right here, this girl. I did, okay? So you're talking about feeling inadequate. I felt like I wanted to drive off the freeway. I felt like the hugest failure. Like, I've been working at this firm for so long. I haven't got paid. Didn't get my real estate license. Like, it was the end of the world. But I had to tell myself, I got this. I'm smart. I can retain knowledge. I know I can take the test again and pass it. I actually called, took it the next day, and passed it. So, right, okay, so Hassan is saying, yes, people fail. Yeah, but we can pick each other back up again. We can pick ourselves back up again. And this is part of where we need to get to neutrality when we're not feeling good about the day, when we're not feeling good about a deal, when we're feeling we're not adequate, that what we're saying isn't important, what we don't have anything to offer. So some of my students, because I've been telling, and I got a really great real estate tip for you guys too. So some of my students right now we're working on getting them connected with the Office of Economic Development in their city. And what that does is puts them in touch with businesses who need business space, right? So I had really a great superstar student, Crystal, and she was saying, I don't know what I have to offer them. I don't know what kind of value I have. And I had to break it down to her. I mean, well, you've been messing with DK for a while, so you actually know more than you thought you did. So I had to shine a light on her genius there to let her know, the difference between residential and commercial real estate. You know that looking for homes, looking for business spaces is difficult. And it's different than trying to find an apartment. You know what the market is. You know what your business is when it comes to signing leases or looking for space. And you have some sort of je ne sais quoi also from your previous life experience. We have people who are pivoting into real estate who have had 2 to 3 careers. You're bringing all that knowledge. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. Give yourself that shine. And then we do have newbies who are just passing the real estate exam. They're just trying to get into the industry. Guess what? You may have just graduated from high school. You may have just gotten your GED, but doggone it, you got it. You got it. So let's come back to neutrality when we're second guessing ourselves, because the mind's going to play tricks on us. The mind is going to undermine. But we got to be in charge of the real estate of our mind. Okay, let me put that in quotes. That's a quote from DK. I'm going on to the next slide. Let's be in charge of the real estate of our minds. Okay, so we are going to finish up here in a few minutes. But I have some different point of views, and I have some things to share with you. But this is my tip for you guys. If the pipeline's a little dry, I suggest you guys go over to the Office of Economic Development and also connect with your your council people. So this weekend I was invited to this really great event. So councilmen from District 6 and 7 in Oakland, and they were talking about revitalizing the commercial neighborhoods and all the money. So Biden has just released a bunch of money into so many communities. And so these commercial spaces need help renegotiating, guys. Hey guys, how you doing? What's up, Kiva? Appreciate you. So they need help. So go to your council district people. Whoever's your council person, go to them. Let them know you're in the commercial real estate. Let them know you'll be a resource. So this is different than the Economic Office of Development. This is actually council people in your area. The people that you live, you can call Mr. and Mrs. Councilman. I live down the street. I live by here. I walk and drive these streets every day. I know it like the back of my hand. They'll want to work with you. They'll want to work with you, okay? You guys have any questions or anything like that? Thank you so much for joining, everyone. I totally appreciate you. So let me take a little drink of my drink. So small things make a big difference. Earlier in the chat, I talked about the fact that someone can say imposter syndrome and not be criticized is a really great step in humanity, right? The fact that someone can say, I'm experiencing anxiety, I'm feeling like I'm not good enough today. And you can look at that person and say, well, geez, you have PhDs, or you have all this experience, or you have a high school diploma, because there's different levels. But we can acknowledge that. And the fact that we as a collective, as professionals, know that imposter syndrome exists, it incites encouragement. And it gives you an opportunity to encourage someone, and vice versa. So I was thinking about how it's actually created some synergy, right? And then there's for us to communicate. So it's pretty cool the way that we can bring it up, we can acknowledge it and move on. And then remember these words, so they have understanding, empathy, or sympathy, right? And we talked about that last week, how it's different. So I'm going to go into the next slides, but remember, these small things make a big difference, guys. Totally makes a big difference. Now here's a different point of view, right? Put it on the other foot. It's all about balance. So knowing the difference between imposter syndrome and knowing when you are speaking about things that you do not know what you were talking about is two different things, okay? So imposter syndrome, or you just don't know what you're speaking about, and you have to be able to know which is which. And I'll give you an example. There are those people who have other careers and who've been in real estate, residential for a long time. But when it comes to speaking about commercial real estate, it's totally two different ball games, totally different plays, rule books, all different types of balls, with football, baseball, basketball, totally different turf. Everything is different. So there's a difference between knowing when you have confidence and you can speak about something and knowing when to be quiet, and you've got to understand the difference. And that's my different point of view that I want to encourage, that because some people really don't know what they're speaking about and they shouldn't be talking about it. But what remains the same is in our continued journey of going in business, our mind's going to play tricks on us. We're going to come up against challenges. Contracts are going to fall through. Deals are going to fall through. Clients are going to turn our back on us. Guess what? It's up to us to control what we do. It's up to us to control our reaction. And by doing this, we become these gatekeepers, and we come across people who are able to handle challenges, right? And then we're learning and growing on ourselves. Speak kindly to yourself, and you are always exactly where you need to be, right? So that's my live for today. I really appreciate you joining. We're going to give a couple of announcements. So the membership is closed, but we have come up with a really great training program for real estate companies who want to have their agents trained as a group, specifically for residential and beginning commercial to medium agents. I'll be coming out with a book called something, I haven't thought of it, but it's going to be a bunch of captions, keywords, hashtags, everything you need to make your social media poppin' and getting your real estate business together and being taken as a serious realtor and an agent. So you know how to connect with me, and I hope you share this. Let people know DK by the Bay is bringing you the best in commercial real estate leasing. As you know, this is my passion. I love you guys. This is going to be up on YouTube. Please spread the channel because I need more subscribers. So lots of love, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you soon, right? Cheers.